What's going on YouTube? This is Brian916. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to the channel. So today I'll be talking about customers, and some of the things that customers do that just annoy me to no end. So this is not going to necessarily be like a pet peeves video. Pet peeves are more along the lines of a customer wants you to test drive a vehicle and there's like the gas light is on, there's no gas in it, or they want you to diagnose a check engine light and they like disconnected the battery before they brought it to you, or they want you to test, some electrical problem, or they want you to diagnose an electrical problem and the battery is dead. So those are like pet peeves. This is more along the lines of just customer interaction, or like business transactions with customers. That's just completely annoying and just annoying me to no end. And all of these experiences are 100% true, things that I dealt with people before, and it just, like I said, just annoys me to no end. So let's jump right into it. Is that customer who doesn't want a diagnosis, he knows what's wrong with it, he just wants you to bring you the part, he wants you to install a part, he's going to provide everything, the coolant, the hoses, the hose clamps, the water pump, the radiator, RTV, sealer. He's going to supply you with everything you need to finish the job, and he doesn't want a diagnosis. I can't stand this customer. I try to avoid this customer at all costs. This is the same type of customer who will try to get a diagnosis over the phone. So true story, a guy called me and asked me, described his symptoms, asked me what could it be. Nowadays, I don't even go into it. I just tell him, I'm sorry, sir, there's really no way we could give you any credible information without checking the vehicle out. I'm sorry, I can't help you over the phone. But a while back, I used to be a little more friendly, if you will, back when I first opened my business, trying to get people in the door. So I would, I listened to his explanation or his situation, and he said that his vehicle would only run hot or start to heat up at idle. And then once he took off again, it would cool back down. So I told him, he asked me what could it be. So I told him, well, I would start at the fans. I would start there. So, conversation ended. And so he called me back a few days later, asked if I remembered him. And he was the guy who I recommended replace the fan. So here's where the problem starts. First of all, I didn't recommend that you replace the fan. I said I would start at the fan. So this guy replaced his fan, and his car was still having that issue. He took that as having a bad diagnosis. So I told the guy, just bring the vehicle in, okay? And let me take a look at it. Of course it was the fan's not cutting on, but it was because of a fan relay. And he replaced the fan for no reason. And the guy, had the audacity to feel that I should just replace his relay for free and not charge him a diagnosis because I gave him a bad diagnosis. And it's like, I can't give you a diagnosis over the phone. That's that same customer. He's the same guy that doesn't want you to diagnose his vehicle. He wants to bring you all the parts. He wants to get a free diagnosis over the phone. He used to work on cars back in the 70s, back in the 80s. He knows everything there is to know about a car. He just can't do it right now because his back is hurting, or he doesn't have enough tools, or whatever the excuse is. I really can't stand that type of customer. If that's you out there, don't be that guy. So that was number one. Number two is going to be that guy who, after you get done with the repair, he can still hear some little faint noise, or something's just still slightly not right, or he still doesn't quite get the same amount of gas mileage he used to get before I did the repair, or some abstract problem that doesn't really exist. So I really can't stand that type of customer. There's really no real problem. You can't really fix the noise because we all know where that noise lives, and that's in his head. So again, true story, that particular customer, same scenario. I replaced a transmission on this vehicle. It was a used transmission, and told him, well, bring it back, let's hear it. And so we went for a test drive together. I told him, you know, get in the car. I want you to point the noise out when it happens, so I can let you know if it's anything related to the transmission or the drivetrain, anything that we may have touched. So we're driving, and the thing's running smooth. It's running normal. All the gears are shifting on time. Everything seems pretty normal. So I'm asking the guy, where's the noise at? I can't hear it. And so he's like, well, you have to be going at this speed. So we go that speed, no noise. Oh, we'll start off from like a slow start and then speed up. So we do that. We can't recreate the problem. And then, of course, it's always, well, it was making the noise yesterday, or now it's not making, or it was making it 10 minutes ago, now it's not making the noise now. And so that type of customer annoys me. Typically, after a while, they'll just go away. That customer, of course, is going to annoy any mechanic to no end. And that's the same type of customer who thinks that they're going to get a brand new car because you rebuilt the diff, or you swapped a motor out and put a new one in there, that now all of a sudden the AC should be working now and all the suspension shouldn't be making any noise. That customer annoys me to no end. So that was number 2. Number 3 is going to be that customer that tries to put mechanics at odds with one another, or try to get this mechanic to say something bad about that mechanic's work, or try to get that mechanic to say something bad about this mechanic's work, or try to get these two shops against each other. I really hate this type of customer. And whenever I come across this customer, I can see it in their face that they somewhat get upset when they realize that I'm not playing this game with them, and that I won't say anything bad about any other person's work. And I can tell they get upset when I tell them, well, I wasn't there, or I don't really know what happened, I can't say for sure. Or I would tell them a lot of times it doesn't really look that bad to me what the last mechanic did. The part could have failed prematurely or what have you, or who knows. So I can tell they get upset when I go that route. But I do that to put the fire out quick, because I don't really want to play that game with these people. So of course, true story, I had a guy who brought me a Volvo. I used to work on Volvo quite a bit, back in the day. But he brought me a Volvo, and I replaced an engine oil cooler line, and also threw some brakes on for him. So anyway, after I did the repair, for some reason, he took his car to another shop, of course, because it's this type of customer. After the vehicle left my shop, he took it to another shop and had them look at it, not sure why. But of course, they looked at it and found something wrong with it, naturally, so they could make some money off of them. And so he brought it back to me, showing me an estimate from another shop, saying that the brake pads that I installed are ceramic, and the OE calls for semi-metallic, so they need to remove the incorrect brake pads that I installed to put semi-metallics on there. And also the fuel line, the oil cooler line that I installed wasn't installed properly, and they need to remove it and replace it with a different one. So, after I read their, diagnosis, I guess, if you could call it that, and I asked them, well, what do you want to do about it? And I explained to them that the oil cooler line that I replaced is like pre-fitted, or it's like bent in all the right spots. So when you install it, there's really no wrong way that you can't install it wrong, because it curves a certain way to fit around the oil pan and bends a certain way to reach the cooler. It's like pre-fitted oil line. There's really no way to install it wrong. It was a pretty easy install. And I told them the ceramic pads, I always use ceramic pads because they're a better quality brake pad. I told him, because you work so far away, he lives in Sacramento, but he works in the Bay Area, which is about 80 miles away. I told him he'll get much longer life out of ceramics, and they won't dust his wheels up and they won't squeak as much. So I thought that given his situation, a ceramic would be a lot better than a cheap semi-metallic. Then took his vehicle to the Volvo dealer and had the Volvo dealer look at everything. And the Volvo dealer wrote him up a ginormous estimate with all kind of crazy stuff, replacing the subframe bolts and all kind of stuff, reprogramming his throttle body and all kind of stuff that his vehicle didn't even need. So then he came back to me and, you know, with the estimate from, so at that point I had to just stop him. And I told him, I think you might want a refund. Is that what you're getting at? If you want a refund, just ask me. You know, I'll give you a refund. And I still have your old brake pads over here in the corner and these old brake lines. We haven't thrown them out yet. I'll be more than happy to put the old stuff back on there and, you know, give you all your money back. Or if you want to keep the parts that's on there, I'll just refund you my labor portion. And but of course those parts are still on there, so we can't refund that back. You know, what would you like to do? The guy started rambling on about, still talking about what the other shop said, stuff like that. So I ended up stopping him before he got too far into whatever it is he was trying to say. Told him come in the office, you know, wrote him a check for the labor portion and asked him to please never come back here again. It's funny because, you know, over the phone, we had a little conversation and he told me he heard through the grapevine that, you know, we do great work here and the quality of our work is outstanding, and you know, he couldn't wait for me to do the work. So I found that kind of strange, being that there was really nothing wrong with it. The vehicle wasn't leaking. There was nothing wrong with his brake pads. We just slapped pads on there, basically just hit the refresh button on the pads and put some ceramics in there. There was really nothing wrong with his Volvo. So I really can't stand that type of customer. Number 3. Number 4, most annoying customer is going to be that customer who always wants to skip the line or assume that you're his or her only customer. So they can drop the vehicle off and clearly see 6 or 7 vehicles here, but automatically assume that you're going to just jump and skip everyone else's vehicle and start working on theirs. So they call you immediately, what's going on? How soon are you gonna have it done? Rush, 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 push, 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 push. I need it at this date. And they think you're just gonna skip everybody else to just jump on their car. There's a lot of customers out there like that who think that you're their only customer and nothing else is going on in your shop but their car. So I really can't stand this customer. This is the same customer that will make up any excuse, any lie to try to get the car done quick. Oh, I gotta be out of town in a funeral. I got a wedding to go to, my cousin's bar mitzvah, my sister's quinceañera. I just started a new job on Monday. I gotta have my car. This customer will always have 1,000 excuses why you need to skip everybody else's and jump on theirs. This is the same customer that will rush, 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 force you to be at work, working late, working overtime to try to hurry up and rush if you let them. And then when it's time to come and pick the vehicle up, guess what? You guessed it. They're not nowhere to be found. You won't see them for 3 or 4 days later, and you sat there and you rushed and rushed and rushed for no reason. So I can't stand that customer. That customer annoys me to no end. Typically, when I run across that customer, I'll let them know right away. Well, go do whatever it is you need to do, and then come back when you actually have time to get your car repaired. So that was number 4, guys. I'm gonna finish it off with number 5, although the list could go on for eons. Number 5 is gonna be that customer who, for some reason, they just can't get it. They can't understand why they need this part replaced. There's a squeak at the wheel maybe, and you pull the wheel off, do a brake inspection on it. Pads are low, they got 10% pad left all the way around. The rotors looks like it's been through 5 or 6 different pad cycles without being resurfaced or replaced. Things lipped up, grooved up, glazed out of this world, or completely out of spec, and they can't figure out why they need a brake job. They just had a brake job done. Clearly, by looking at the vehicle, there's no way this vehicle's seen a brake job in a long time. I dealt with this very customer just a few days ago. A guy brought in a Cadillac CTS 2006. It was in here for a check engine light on, had a no-com situation. No-com is basically no communication between modules. So it lost communication between the engine control module and the transmission control module. So whenever I deal with this situation, before I print out any wiring diagrams or go that route, I check the basics first. So I went to the battery, checked the battery, make sure we wasn't dealing with a low voltage situation, because if there's a low voltage situation or no voltage situation, you could lose communication between modules. And so basically, I load tested the battery, and sure enough, it failed the load test overwhelmingly. So I called the customer. I asked him, have you got a jump lately or anything like that? And he said, yeah. In fact, he had to get a jump twice. So I told him his battery failed a load test, like significantly failed a load test, and he's gonna need a new battery. Of course, he can't understand why he would need a new battery. I just put a new battery in. So I'm looking at the sticker on the battery while I'm talking to him at the same time, and it says like 2013. And I'm telling him that the battery, it says 2013 on it, and it's like 5 years old. Most batteries only last like 3 to 5 years, so I think this battery's ran its course. Of course, he's arguing me down. I can't understand why he would need a new battery. So that was my 5 most annoying customers to me, that just really bugged me, that I just can't deal with and don't have the patience for. Anyway, thanks for viewing. This is Brian 916. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Just when I thought I was done with these 4.7 Dodges, look what showed up. I took 1 day off of work yesterday, came in today, and I got not 1, but 2 Dodge trucks in the shop. This one's another 4.7, and of all problems, it needs a motor. Let me show you guys what's going on with this one. Battery's dead. Throw a jump pack on there. Now, take a listen to this thing. No mistaking, this thing's gonna need another motor. Just when I thought I was done with these 4.7s, another one show up. Technically not 1, but 2. And judging by what Dad said, this one's gonna need a motor as well. But you can see this one's not a 4.7. This one's a 5.7, the Hemi. 2 Dodges in here. I don't know whether to be sick of Dodge or to thank Dodge for the steady income. A piston for you guys right here that actually came out of a 4.7, and show you guys how bad they get when they drop valves. This came out of a 4.7 Dodge. Usually when the valve seats fall out and they start rattling around in there, and it'll really trash the piston. So these things really self-destruct once they reach high mileage, or if you overheat them real bad. They really do like sort of self-destruct with that valve seat issue. So yeah, this is a 4.7 piston out of a Dodge. So you can see what happens to these things. They really get jacked up. Anyway, guys, just when I thought I was done with the 4.7, it came right back.